But I keep being torn, caught up by all my demons, lost without that love, and I'm a slave to...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of On the Line Life Stories, where I speak to some incredible individuals who are related to Aston Villa in some manner about their life stories. And today I'm joined by the presenter for the Up the Villa podcast, and I would say Aston Villa social media influencer, Luke Robinson. Luke, how are you?
Nice introduction. I'm good, thanks. You all right, mate?
I'm really good, thank you. And of course, it's been a positive week for Aston Villa. We beat Fulham 3-0. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was brilliant. I thought, I'm very positive, and I was, expecting us to do quite well this season, and we blew them away, to be fair. I thought real good performance, some great play by some of our new signings that look really promising, and it just feels like everything's coming together quite nicely, and we're gelling into a really exciting team.
Now, you have expressed your thoughts, let's say, on all things Villa on your channel, Up the Villa podcast. But let's just briefly, before we go into your life story, talk about that result. And you talked about the importance of new signings. Of course, you've got Ollie Watkins, Emiliano Martinez, Matty Cash. Bear in mind, last season, of course, we were new to the Premier League and these signings took time to gel and fit in. But now we've got years of experience, this whole squad, and we're bringing in these new players and they look really good, don't they? How big of an impact will they have, not just against Fulham and Sheffield United, but for the whole season?
I think they'll have a massive impact. I think if you look compared to last season, it was more quantity rather than quality. But this year, it's the other way around. It's more quality over quantity. And I think that's only going to make us better. It's only going to make the side better, more dynamic, and just deliver week in, week out. I think, Watkins looks really lively. Traore is going to be dynamic going forward. Cash looked brilliant at right back. I just feel like Smith's addressed the areas that he needed to. And just that alone is going to make us a lot more better. I mean, we signed Ross Barkley today. I mean, that is some signing. Last season we were signing Drinkwater, and now we've got an England international coming in who's choosing to come to Aston Villa. Now, these players are picking Aston Villa over, a lot of other good football teams. So I think that's pleasing in itself, really.
Now, you've been an Aston Villa supporter for such a long time. And of course, the journey recently has been quite a bumpy one, being that we were relegated in the mid, I think 2015, that's all around the time. Then we went back to the Championship. We were there for around 3 seasons, went back up. And to see, like you said, the calibre of players such as Ross Barkley come to Villa Park and play for Aston Villa and play in claret and blue for us is a great sight to see, isn't it?
It is. It's what we've been lacking over the years, really. We all know that we've been on a massive rebuild since 2015. I think if you go before that, say, 10 years in front of that as well, we had we were attracting Ashley Young, Carew, Milner, Downing, top players in English football. And over time, it's sort of dwindled away, and we've had to rebuild ourselves back up, and we've had plan after plan, and that plan's failed, and then a new owner, and then that plan failed. But it feels like everything is coming together, and we're delivering and learning on all the issues that we've had. And I think it's just key to getting Aston Villa back where we belong. The fan base, we're steeped in history. We all know we're a massive club, and that's just not being biased. It's every fan hates Aston Villa, but that's only because we've got a rich history in every competition. No one likes Aston Villa, but if we can get back to where we belong, they'll hate us even more.
I think that's a great point, honestly. And so you talk about Aston Villa in such a passionate and, in fairness, eloquent manner, and you see that on your channel, and I think you're a brilliant guest to have for a series just like this. So let's go back to the beginning of your days as an Aston Villa supporter. We'll talk about your passion for Aston Villa at the start of your supporting career, but most importantly, what caused you to gain an interest into football? Was it an influence regarding your family members, or was it just being around certain friends or individuals who love the sport so much?
So I mean, I was born probably with a football. It was just instilled in me. There was no way I was not going to like football. So like I say, as a kid, I didn't used to go that often. To be fair, it was more my auntie and my uncle that were massive Villa fans. They had season tickets, and I'd be around at my nan's every Saturday, and they'd come with a little book, and they'd be going to the Villa, and then gradually, they used to take us to all the cup games. So if we had a real good cup run, we would go to say 3, 4, 5 games that season, in the Carling Cup or whatever it was called. And it just grew from there. As a kid, I played football until I started obviously working. It's just a massive, massive passion. I used to collect all the sticker books,
Yeah.
The match.
Same here, same here.
There's a magazine called Match, I think, and
Yes.
Match of the Day, everything
Yeah.
really, literally. I'd finish school and I'd go and play football. It's just been a massive part of my life, really, just football in general.
So you talk about the influence of your family there. And I was talking to Dan Bardell previously about the fact that football has helped to really strengthen his relationship with his dad. And I can relate to that with the fact that I think me and my dad's, our relationship has strengthened due to the fact that he's seen me play football and we've gone to games and I've worked for several channels and we've bonded over that. So do you think over the past few decades, your relationship with your family has grown even stronger due to your collective passion for Aston Villa Football Club?
Oh, definitely. I think the thing is with football, what some people probably don't understand, if you support a club like Aston Villa, where there's ups and downs, it's very difficult. When I was at school, I was surrounded by Man United,
Oh,
Liverpool.
tell me about it, yeah.
To me, they're not true football fans. So when you go on this journey as a football fan, you go on the journey not just watching them, but it's with your family as well. It's the excitement, the turmoil, the passion, like it's just everything. So a football club it's not just like you go into the theatre to watch entertainment. It's a part of your life. You become that emotionally involved in it. You can have interest in anything in life. You could maybe pick up a guitar, or you could like a certain band and then you go off that band. But with a football team, you are with them through your whole life. So they become such a passion. And if you've got your family members that like them as well, or what friends, it's something you can do together, experience it together. Football is amazing, for a family. If you all support the same team, it's just brilliant, to be fair.
Yeah. So I've talked to, again, several guests in the past who are Villa fans, and that first journey to Villa Park is a special one for them. Not so much for me, because I talked to Dan again at the fact that my first game was a 3-1 loss to Wigan. So that wasn't great. But it's just remembering the passion of the Villa faithful and the grand stadium that is Villa Park. So for you then, what was your first journey to Villa Park like? What was the game like? And what did you remember about that day?
Okay, so I've got two. So the first one, I don't really remember it that well. The only thing I remember is the ball kept going in the lower Holt end. And me and my brother were that amazed that we could try and catch this ball. And I've always thought, who was the player? And I remember now who the player was. It was Savo Milosevic in his first season at Villa. And it didn't go too good. And I just think, that was the player, and we were just trying to catch this ball. And that was my first one. So my second one I remember more vividly would be FC Zurich. And I think it must have been I'm going to say Intertoto Cup. But that was another memory that I had, just going there and just really enjoying it and just falling in love with it, really, and just being overwhelmed with the pitch, the stand, the players, just everything, really. It was just amazing.
Now, a significant and probably one of the most important parts of going to the football is the interaction within the fan base. And now with the coronavirus being such a mainstay within our lives for the past 6 months, and 2020 effectively has been ruined because of it, we haven't been able to go to football games and reunite with our family members potentially and our friends from the football. So during your first visits to Villa Park, how long did it take you to really connect with the Villa faithful and join in with the chants? And did you feel that connection with not just the Villa faithful, but the Aston Villa Football Club instantly during your first games there?
Oh, definitely. But I think as when you're going as a child, it's a little bit different, isn't it? It's like you're just like what are they singing? What are they saying? Like I don't know. Like who's that or what's? Do you know what I mean? It's a little bit more. I don't know. You don't really understand. I don't think
Hmm.
what you're watching at times, and you're taking it all in. But I just think it's a little bit different. So I'd say like the chants and that for me sort of came a little bit later because obviously when I started first going as well, we were actually quite good. So you'd go to the game, and I think for about 3 years, I never saw us lose. And it was just obviously, I thought that was what happens. You just go and watch them win, and then you go home. But obviously, later on in life, you start realizing that it's not like that. So yeah, I'd say that the chanting and that probably came a little bit later on for me.
Yeah, because you talk about the fact that when you're a child, it's such a different setting to what you're normally used to. So imagine it may not fully engage you, but the differences in terms of the people around you, the actual architecture, the players that are playing in front of you, that must have caught your eye. So
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
talk about some of your favourite players on the pitch. You talked about Sava Milosevic, who was a great player in his prime at Aston Villa. Which other players do you remember from your early days as a Villa fan who immediately caught your eye and you were immediately impressed with from the stands?
Okay, so I would say early days. I'd say we're talking Darius Vassell, Julian Joachim, Lee Hendry, those type of players for me. Gareth Barry, had Gareth Barry on the back of most of my Villa shirts. Um, just great signings, great players to watch at the time. And then as we're moving through the different seasons, Angel for me, I'd probably say is one of my favourite all-time players. Um, I just loved him. I am a hairdresser, so any player that wears an Alice band for me is a legend already. So Angel, then you go into towards like Ashley Young, John Carew, Grealish. You know, I've seen those types of players. It's obviously just really good, and the ones that you remember.
Yeah, and you talk about the foreign influence on the Premier League and Aston Villa as a whole. These players such as Angel coming to Villa Park, coming to Birmingham, and really changing your perspective of the game. But let's talk about players such as Lee Hendry, Jack Grealish, players, local lads who have risen through the ranks and got to play for that first team. Now, again, I've talked to previous guests at the fact that they could potentially relate to their work ethic in their professions. So for
Yeah.
yourself, as a youngster, seeing Lee Hendry go from a youth player playing for his favourite team, Aston Villa Football Club, like I said, rising through the ranks, did that inspire you as well when you got to understand the game that is football and understand it completely? Did that begin to inspire you to succeed in whichever walk of life you choose?
Yeah, definitely. I think, for when you're watching, so say for example, Jack Grealish, I remember going to Villa Park in the Next Gen series against Olympiacos, and it was I'd seen him for the first time, and he was really good. And when you see a player go on a bit of a journey, so he went to say Notts County on loan, and you want to see him develop there, and obviously he comes into the first team quite early age, and then he against Liverpool in the semi-final, it sort of gives you that sense of you can achieve your dreams. Basically,
Yeah.
you can work really hard, and you can set yourself a goal, and you can achieve anything. And looking at those types of players that you've just mentioned, that is what they do. They're at their boyhood clubs that they love, and they're trying to live their dream. Jack Grealish's dream as a kid was probably scoring against Birmingham City at St Andrews, captaining Aston Villa in the Premier League. His next one, playing for England, the one after that, lifting a trophy with Aston Villa. Now, who's going to say Jack Grealish isn't going to do that? Because he's achieved everything he's set his sights on. So when you're looking at a player like that on a journey, it inspires you to do anything in your walk of life as well.
Mm.
And
So,
children.
yeah.
So kids watching Jack Grealish, wanting to be like him, you know, seeing his journey, it gives them belief that one day they can achieve what he's done.
Yeah, because of course Grealish has made lots of mistakes throughout his life, but the most important thing is that he continues to remain, especially on the football pitch, resilient. He continues to put in that hard work, and he's also remains he's very switched on. He's very confident in his play, and that shows throughout his time at Aston Villa and potential. And when he came on for England as well, because it was only 10 to 15 minutes, he didn't play a lot. But in my opinion, I thought he made a positive impact there on the national stage. So those elements of confidence and resilience, how important, like you said, for the future generations to implement those feelings and thoughts within themselves in order to exceed and excel in whichever professions they that they choose to enter.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's all about like inspiration, isn't it? You know, inspiring others. It's football players not just sort of going on a football pitch to do his job. It's about having an impact on people's lives, changing people's lives. And football can do that on so many different levels. So Villa put out a tweet and a video on Saturday, and it was about the wheelchair football team. Now, one of the lads that was in this video, John Morley, I cut his hair. And to see him get to experience that, it's amazing. You know, he's playing for the disability team. He's been able to go to the photo shoot. Dean Smith was there telling him to go in, you know, and have his photos taken next to Louise Mings and the likes of those. Like, that is such a powerful thing that football can do. And I think people sometimes forget that from just thinking, yeah, they just go on a football pitch and they get paid loads of money. But behind the scenes, footballers do so much stuff to affect people's lives, which are positive. And I think sometimes it goes under the radar, really.
How proud were you then to see him experience that, bear in mind that you talked to him in the past?
Oh, definitely. I think, you know, it's brilliant. He loves his football. He's a season ticket holder. He goes to every single Villa home game. You know, and he plays his wheelchair football for Aston Villa. He's actually in the Aston Villa team. So it's just brilliant, really, to see that he's warranted that place to go and do that, and people are taking notice. I think, you know, sometimes just because you might have so many followers on Twitter, you're above somebody, but I think everybody deserves the same credit, and I think that's what I like to do on my podcast, and that's the aim of what Up the Villa podcast is. It's to give fans a voice and give everybody the equal opportunity to have their say.
So you talked about the journey as a Villa fan in those early stages, and now you've all grown up and you decided to venture into the world of podcasting. Mm-hmm. So you've briefly mentioned what Up the Villa podcast is about, but you talk about inspiring others, and most importantly, what podcasts such as yours do is give people a voice. Mm-hmm. And now Aston Villa Football Club, not if you don't take it literally, just metaphorically, Aston Villa Football Club have given the person that you were talking to, the hairdresser who's part of the wheelchair Aston Villa football team, a chance to meet his idols and express his thoughts on Aston Villa through that photo shoot alone. So talking specifically then about your podcast, is that one of your core values when firstly creating it and bringing in people such as Seb and Justin and all your mates who give them a voice and potentially create them into high profile figures within the Villa community?
Yeah, definitely. So how it all came about is for around a season or two, I was doing score predictions each game and asking Villa fans to put their thoughts, their score predictions, and it took off. So I thought, what a great way to figure out a concept at start. I didn't want to copy anybody's concept. I wanted it to be unique to what I felt like I was doing. So Up the Villa podcast is fans can call in, have their say on any single matter whatsoever. And I think this is what lockdown taught everybody, that football is nothing without the fans. you know, I don't want to be the star of the podcast. It's not about me. It's about everybody else. It's about every Villa fan having their say. And I feel like there's so many people that sit in that stadium that have been going for 30, 40, 50 years that don't have a voice. You know, nobody listens to them, but why not? They've paid their money for however many years, and it's just a great platform for you to have your opinions and have your say and tell everybody what you see. I think another idea with the concept as well was I listened to BBC WM football phoning. Now, I love it. I like it. But
Same here, yeah.
do I want to listen to West Brom, Birmingham, Wolves, Walsall fans? No. All I want to listen to are Villa fans. So on my show, it's purely Villa fans that are just having their say and just talking about Villa. And I think what's not to like?
So you talk about you liking that sort of format. So you talk about 6 to 6, BBC Radio 5 Live. That's a brilliant show. And do you believe that the success of your podcast, it's due to the fact that you've got such charismatic individuals and people wanting to voice their opinions and know a lot about Aston Villa Football Club, but as well, being that quite a successful format, those two things joined together make Up the Villa podcast, and potentially it could be in a few years' time, in a few months' time, during this lockdown period where fans aren't allowed in the stadium, so they're trying to form some sort of interaction if they can to join the Up the Villa podcast because it's such a likable and successful format in the past. Do you think that's what led to you really quickly gaining 1K subscribers so quickly in a matter of months, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you know we worked hard to get the branding good. We you know I'm a perfectionist at work, so obviously, you know, cutting hair you can't get it wrong. So I didn't want it to look weak. I wanted it to look as the best it could, and I just think it. You know, it's just interesting. Like a lot of people listen to podcasts, but how many of them are sitting in their cars, like ranting or raging, saying, "I don't agree with that," or "I agree with that," and that's a good point, but they're not involved. And I think with mine, if you listen to it and you want to come on board, you're more than happy to come on board. Which then led to our website, our WordPress account, where you can write if you don't want to. If maybe coming on a podcast isn't for you, you can publish a piece. We've got a professional writer who checks it all over, keeps it word for word. And if you want to talk about your favourite players or your favourite game, your childhood memories, you can do so as well. So everything that I do is for the fans. It's not for me. I'm just here to keep it ticking over and whatever. But it's the fans that have got to do the hard work. Like some people say, I'm really nervous about coming on. I you know, and there's nothing to be nervous about because I don't do anything. You just talk.
You
Tell
do.
tell me what you see, and that's it. You're on basically.
So you talk about the importance of the Up the Villa podcast. Now, fan media has developed so much over the past few years. You've seen channels such as the Villa View and Villa on Tour excel within the fan media profession and are gaining subscribers upon subscribers, and that is the road that you are following. So how important do you think that in 5 years' time, bear in mind the mainstream audience, they're still captivating them, but fan media is starting to grow so suddenly? How long do you think it will be until more fan media representatives are potentially representing their clubs on mainstream accounts? And how big, most importantly, do you believe that the Up the Villa podcast could be, and how long do you see it being active for?
I mean, if I had 10 people listening, I would still do it. The aim wasn't about a number. The number's nice. The number means that people like it, which is good. So, you know, it gains subscribers on every video, which is pleasing to see. But I think it's, as long as you're enjoying doing it, then keep doing it. Like I really enjoy doing it. I love chatting to all the Villa fans. You know, we all, even your channel, you know, you enjoy doing it, you love doing it, and And that's the most important part about it. Anything, sky's the limit on anything. We spoke about what it was like for kids watching footballers, and if you have an ambition or an aim, just have a standard and have a level that you want to get to, and sky's the limit. You could have t-shirts coming out, cups coming out, mugs, whatever. If it grows, it grows, and if it stays the same, I'm happy.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, you do have a child, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Now, how important do you believe it is for you to set that example for her when she gets older, in the fact that if you continue to put the hard work in and you respect the people around you, and we talked about the importance of resilience and hard work and being tenacious, how important do you think that those feelings and thoughts are to implement within her in order for her to excel in her future life?
I think it's really important. I think working hard has been instilled from me from a very young age, and if you work hard, you'll reap the rewards. And I think that's such a good mantra to have. I think if you have a certain standard, then everything else can flow, and you'll just get better and better. Like she's already kicking a ball around. We go to the park and she's like, goal, goal. She loves it already. But so it's fun that she likes football. But I just think, if everybody works hard and has a dream and has a vision, then there's no stopping anybody from achieving anything in life.
Do you think you'd be the same individual if you weren't a fully fledged Aston Villa supporter?
I mean, like, when I'm at work, I'll talk to anybody about football. That's why I feel like I'm okay at talking about Villa, because all my male clients that I do, it's like they've gone to the pub with the mate.
Yeah.
We talk about Villa. I don't ask them about their haircut. I don't ask them what we're doing. First thing we talk about is Villa. If they're not a Villa fan, we talk about football. If it's a 60-year-old lady in that consultation or in that appointment, I'll ask her if she likes football. And then she'll probably say, yeah, my husband goes to the Villa.
There you
Perfect.
go.
I just talk about Villa all the time. So yeah, I'll just chat about Villa all the time, to be fair.
As well, do you think the birth of your child has helped to reinforce the values of resilience and tenaciousness and working hard within yourself?
I think so, yeah, because you've got somebody that's such a young age that's relying on you, so it's sort of, you can be going through I'm 31, so you're going through your 20s and you're just not bothered about anything. You might be thinking, I got work today or whatever, but when you have a child, it's like, boom, you've got to deliver now. Everything that you do in life now is to support her. So the decisions that you make, therefore, and on are basically to make sure she has a great life, to be fair, and a great start in life.
Yeah, because we talked about children of today gaining influence and respecting individuals such as Jack Grealish, who, like we said, have made lots of mistakes, but he's remained resilient and has worked hard throughout his life. So for you then, you of course you are a hairdresser. What made you enter that profession?
Well, this is the story. So I did work experience at Tony and Guy, and they offered me a job. And then when I got there, they were like, no, there's no job. So stayed on at sixth form, got into uni to do sports coaching. And my mum was like, Luke, there's a job going at this hairdressers in Wolverhampton. And I was like, right, sack off everything else. I'm going to do that job. So I worked at this celebrity hairdressers, and enjoyed it, but I wasn't getting anywhere. So I went to Tony and Guy, and I've been there ever since for like 12 years. And I've worked my way up to salon manager and done so many cool things like London Fashion Week, photo shoots. I've done everything with that company, really. So it's just huge, really.
Yeah.
I think that it's a great company to work for. And one thing that's really good about them now is that, obviously, because I work on Saturdays, they allow me to have a season ticket now at Villa, which I've not been able to do. So it now means that I can go to the Villa all the time as well. So That's like a brief history on my working career, really. And being working in Sutton as well. I've cut that many footballers' hair. It's been great to cut their hair and find out a little bit more about them, really. So that's been good as well.
Go on, and you dropped that hint. Which individuals, which footballers have you cut their hair for?
So it was at a time where there was a lot of Irish players in the Midlands. So we had like Shane Long, Kevin Doyle. I was cutting their hair just before they were going to the Euros, so I've done their hair.
Wow.
Jordan Graham, he was a youngster at Villa. I've cut his hair. A few of his mates as well. Amel Furtado, I cut his hair. He played for West Brom.
Yeah.
I've cut his hair. We used to have Kojak coming in, who was a Villa player.
Oh, wow.
Loads really, but they're all really sound like you. They're just normal people basically. When you get chatting to them. Oh, and tell you one that I used to cut who was really good, Matt Doherty.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I used to cut his hair when he was at Wolves, but he was when he wasn't in the Wolves team, so he was going out on loan to Bury a lot. So I used to cut his hair quite regular. He was really sound. He was a nice guy.
Yes, you talk about the footballers and how they may be perceived to be one thing, but when all is done, they really are just normal people. Now, I want to talk to you before we go about social media as a whole and the negativity that comes with it. Now, bear in mind that you've been quite prevalent on social media for the last few years and you've grown quite a following on Twitter specifically. How do you react to potentially negative feedback or negative comments that you receive?
If I'm being totally honest, I've never had any.
Wow.
I've never had any negativity. That is basically because I am solely positive on there.
Yeah.
And I think when somebody's positive, it's very difficult for someone to be quite negative, because that aura of being positive a lot of the time is always like nice to see. It's nice to read. So I've never really had any negativity at all, really. But if I did, I'm thick-skinned enough to just deal with it okay, to be fair. It wouldn't really affect me too much, to be fair. I just think what you've got to remember is if you're putting yourself out there, then you are going to get something in some way. Somebody who might be jealous of the way you are, or jealous of the way you might look, or the way you dress. There's always people that just don't like certain things, and I think that is sometimes the problem. I very rarely tweet a really to the point opinion, which could cause a massive debate. So I tend to stay away from stuff like that as well. I just sort of like to just put what I like out there and just inspire people, really. Like through lockdown, I was trying to help people get through and motivate themselves mentally. I'm just there for people, really, just to help them. And I think if you can see somebody's trying to do that, how can you be negative? How can you try and put someone down for being like that? So on that front, I try and just stay clear. And sometimes if someone did try and write something, I'd probably just ignore them. It's just not worth the hassle, really.
Yeah, 2020 has been a year full of conflict and arguments between one another in terms of on a global scale. So, like you say, if I was someone who was feeling low and I messaged you, what would you say to me in order to motivate me specifically?
I would first talk about changing the way you're doing things. So, for example, if you're feeling quite low and you continue to do your daily routine, your daily cycle, it's going to get no better at all. You're gonna stay the way you are. You've got to do something that's going to impact your life for the better, whether that be picking something to have an interest in and focusing on that interest, or going back in time to figure out areas which make you happy. Now, I think music is a great one. So if you listen to like nostalgic music from, I don't know, a band that you used to like years and years ago. So I've been listening to Block Party recently. You know, and it brings back happy sort of memories, a real cool band. So I'd say have a focus and have a goal. Don't think about the past, think about the future and the way you can impact your life. So whether it's getting up, going for a run first off, go for your morning run, start your day feeling good, and then move on to your next milestone in the day. Pick something that's going to have a positive impact on the thing that you do, maybe in the afternoon or in the evening. But if you stick in that moment of feeling down and feeling low, it's just going to quadruple by 1,000, and it's going to get on top of you. So I'd say pick a topic, pick a hobby, pick something, have a focus, work towards it, and hopefully you start to see a bit of a different cycle. I think going back to obviously where I work, it's people. You know, I'm doing over 200 and something people's hair a month. I'm seeing people every single day. I can read people's psychology. I can gauge their mood. I can gauge everything, and you get that from someone. And I think if you know how you can make someone feel better, that's a real good trait to have.
Luke, I think that's a fantastic way to end the podcast. Thank you very much for speaking to me.
Cheers, mate.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the Up the Villa podcast as well. But most importantly, stay safe, stay well, and as Luke said, always remain positive and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
What I keep being tuned, could I buy all my demons lost without